Hello and thank you for joining us on World of Art this week. Every week we bring you art practitioners and together we weigh in the advantages there are to visual art in our everyday activities as humans. My name is Miriam Usman. This program is brought to you by Prince Yemisi Shillon, legal practitioner, Africa's largest private art collector, grand donor and chairman of Council Yemisi Shillon Museum of Art, in collaboration with Society of Nigerian Artists Ogun State Chapter. When we return, I'll tell you more about where we are today and what we're discussing. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching World of Art right here on OGTV. Today we're in the studios of Kumbuye, somewhere in Abeokuta, and this is not the usual art form of expression you have seen. I mean, from behind me, you can see a lot of artistic expression behind me, and we have the artist who is behind these great works on the program today. Thank you so much for having us in your studios today.
Thank you very much for coming. My name is Kumbuye Bikade Eugene. I'm an environmentalist, an artist, and an optical illusion in my own rights.
That sounds like a summary of what you do and who you are. We're a whole lot more. And I'm hoping that before we end our conversation here today, we'll get to know you, your work, and how you've been making impact. Of course, you mentioned that you are an environmentalist, and that by extension speaks in almost all your art. I mean, we could see some behind. You've done a lot of work. I want you to walk us through it, how it was for you before now and how it is for you now. But usually I like to engage artists by them walking us through how they started their journey into the world of art. So what's your story like?
Well, I started arts from since I was a child. I've always had this interest in arts, and I think that interest grew to the point where I found myself studying art in higher institution. I graduated from Tech in 2018. I specialized in painting, and since after my graduation, I've been a full-time practitioner here in Abeokuta, and my work have been focused on the environmental part of things.
What's it about the environment that you're so drawn to?
Well, the environment is our home. We have to keep it safe. We have to clean it, and so what we give to it is what it will give to us back. So that's it.
How long have you been practicing this form of art? But first, I'm going to have you tell us this form of art, because that was the first question someone asked me when we got here, that this form of expression, what is it called? Like we're saying right now. Is there a name? Because we know a lot of artists like to give their mode of expressions some new innovative names or something that is existing before.
Well, nothing new about what I'm doing. Nothing, no any special name given to it. So it's just that the environmental art though I studied painting, but my work is tilting towards sculpture. Why? Because it's material based. You can see the material, you can feel the material,
You can call this sculpture.
yeah, it is sculpture.
The sculpture I'm most conversant with are like the 360 kind of sculpture work. I never knew this could be called a sculpture.
Yeah, sculpture doesn't have to always be three-dimensional. You can have two-dimensional. You can have relief, and when you feel part of the materials are really they're kind of relief, so it's sculptural.
So this is relief sculpture.
Yeah, very shared, low relief. So yes.
The beauty of works like this are like seen from afar.
Yeah.
That's where you get the entire picture. And sometimes it's explaining, not immediately. I remember when we got in, it took us some time to understood, oh, this is someone's image, this is someone's head, this is trying to give a replica of a human form. So it's something that tells the story that you need to pay close attention and try to figure out what it's really talking about. And of all the materials you could have gotten from the environment, since you're particular about maintaining good environment, you decide to look at flip flop. That is different. That is unique. Tell us about it.
Well, I grew up in the northern part of Nigeria, and there's a whole lot of things that I did as a child. You go out to play. There are a whole lot of gaming activities that are only possible with footwear. Our footwear became instruments of these games, and so I feel that is where it all started. And secondly, there's an environmental part of it where you need to understand that this material, they are not biodegradable, meaning that every footwear that you have used as a person, right from when you were a child to this point, they're all out there. Can you imagine the quantity that we have? So they're all somewhere, so it's more like an untapped field that I just when I decided to key into it. Yeah.
So, is it okay to ask how you go sourcing for this wares? Because there's so much, and I could see different sizes. I could see masculine shoes. I could see feminine shoe. I could see different types. There are the ones that looks like a sandal, other look like a slippers, other look like a school shoe. How do you source them before you do all of these things?
Well, we have a group of people that are kind of charged with the responsibility of getting the materials outside of the studio, and we transport them to the studio. So we're in the studio here. That's where the selection process starts. We select them according to their story, because each footwear carry a story of someone that we don't know, but through footwear we're able to kind of tell what this person have gone through. Like, for example, when you get the footwear of a child that's between months to couple of years, there always needs no pressure. Why? Because that child doesn't have much weight. So yeah, so most of those footwear come in very very clean, very neat, and you can see how well reserved they are. But that of adults, you can see that they're they are worn out in different degree, and there are some that we found footwear a couple of times where they're old, the kind of maybe they're broken, but they are fixed with nails or binding wire. So you can tell the story of whosoever it was that was using those things. What was his priority? That might be someone out there trying to fend for his family. While in contrast to the other one, the little child's on, so it's more like the person that is being carried under the wings of the elderly. So there's a whole lot of stories surrounding. So, but all this process is what thing that we do in the studio.
So there's this process of outsourcing to get these things from the environment, and then they are brought to the studio for selection. What other processes is involved in this?
Well, we have the cleaning process, obviously, because we can't just take them out of the street and put them, because these are things that people put in their homes and their offices and spaces where they will communicate with, they will come in with them. So our first stage is the cleaning process. Then we bring them out according to what they have gone through, according to how well they look. So that's where we start laying them. Like the one I have behind me, I think here we have up to 3 to 4 layers. Some places are up to 5 layers. Down are the ones that are that looks really, really bad, very weak. So they're not something that you want people to see that much. So those ones we cover them all with healthier ones over the course of all the assembly. So, but when we're done assembling, there's also another process. We have to bring this down and stitch it manually, one after the other. We'll all stitch this down.
Stitching into?
We're stitching it to itself. So there's a fabric. There's a fabric which we use as a ground, on the layer where we sketch and assemble all of them. So we stitch everything together so it holds permanently.
That sounds like a whole lot. It's not the one that you will understand from a glance. And to be honest, to see all of these things as assembled here, it feels so colorful. Do you take note of these color combinations when you are trying to bring out a particular image of this work?
Well, certainly, certainly, but most importantly, I more focus on the tones,
The color.
on the tone. Yes, because putting each color is dark, each color is light. It all depends on the color that is placed next to it, and I have to use my knowledge of color, shade and shadow to bring out the structure of what you're seeing. That is one. I think that is more important. Yeah, that is the major thing, because if it's just about assembling, we can assemble footwear in a very large space and you can see, you won't get any imagery, but it's because of this colors, this little thing, that is what we're doing. And every single thing, that every single color that is here, it not enhanced, it's a natural color of the material as we picked it, because people wonder sometimes if yeah, it's maybe we spray no, and we don't spray. The only part where spraying comes is maybe when we're done, it's polishing, so it's a neutral color. It's it polishes so that so it becomes a bit shiny, a bit shiny, a bit bright, because most of these things, even after you wash, if we leave them like that, they're a bit dusty, because they have really absorbed a whole lot of the dust outside. So we need that polishing to give them better outlook.
So it also looks like your work deals with a lot of height. The heights, the breadths, everywhere is, it has to be big before you make your work. Does that mean that even the small piece do not tell the story?
They do tell. So about the size scale of my work is just, I think that is a bit personal, because I feel like now as a young man I have the strength to really push this boundaries. So I'm doing them, I'm paying that price now. With time, I know the time will come where I will not have the strength to do to create works this big. So now I'm expressing myself, obviously, but yes, I could get the same result from smaller ones. It's just that the amount of footwear that you will see will not be as much as this. And from an environmental point of view, the number, the quantity that will absorb will be the more reduced it is from the side.
That is such a beautiful one. So let's talk about an average. You want to make a work that is in line with the skill that you love to work with. How long does it take you, from the outsourcing processes to the washing, the selection, the sketching, the polishing to get the work done? How long does it take you?
Well, because I've not really been working or focusing on one work, because I cannot multitask, I create different works simultaneously. But I know for sure that if I'm should be focused on a particular piece like this one that is behind us, in 3 months we should be done. Yeah.
Who are your clients? Who do you sell your work of art to? Yeah.
That was others.
I mean, there's some works that they differ to environment. There's some works you take to the hospital. They tell you, oh, there's a relationship between medicine and art. There's some work you would find in restaurant, you find in roadside. So for you, where are your works being best seen? What kind of places or people?
Well, my majority of my work have been in private collections, so that is my works have been in private collections of individuals. We're talking about hospital. Yes, I've had an exhibition, a solo exhibition in a hospital in Italy, and the title of the exhibition was Restarts. Yeah, so it was more of an avenue to give hope to people, because people that were going through certain rehabilitation process. So they were giving them, they put out that artwork in that space so people can get it, more like to give them hope, strengthen them, and all that. Yeah. So I've had that exhibition, but majority of my have been private collections.
You mentioned also that this work is undertapped. This part of art is undertapped, and I want to believe it's not just because the resources are, not too available. It's also available. People just don't understand. I would also believe that it requires a lot of work, even including getting your hands dirty. So personally, for you, how long have you been doing this work? And in those spaces of time, how have you been able to stay motivated? Because to be honest, it's one thing to be doing this work. It's another thing to get your work out there for people to recognize or buy it. So if there are no motivations from either of these places, you could just doubt yourself at some point. Like, why am I doing this? This thing doesn't even make. That's when you now start understanding that I'm actually playing with dirty and all of that. But personally, how have you been able to push through with doing this work that includes getting your hands dirty to get some things done, and in the aspect of your work being recognized out there? How has it impacted you personally?
Well, there's a place of personal conviction. Like, yes, I've told myself that this is what I want to do, and I must get it right. And there's also a part of me that's is really, really willing to go out with zero inhibition, no restrictions, to say yes, I'm ready to play along, Yeah. So I started this in 2017. Yeah, that was when I started. And from the first piece I created, I know for sure that this is what I want to do. I know for sure that this material, I will be able to manipulate it in different ways, and I will be able to kind of speak to the material, and this material will certainly respond to my call. So yes, I have that conviction already, because yes, art is not really that's easy of a career to pick. Why? Because you're working for people, for a selected few people, not really for everybody. So yeah, but yeah, you have to make up your mind if this is what you want to do. And yeah, there's also a part where you need to understand that for people to patronize you, need to work on yourself, and they need to be sure that yes, when you start, you're not just going to be someone that just want to create one work and get certain amount of money and just back out, because the moment you back out, it's a loss for them. So your consistency in the field is very, very important to your collectors, and it will push them. That's why it's very important that sometimes they encourage or advise young artists that when you're starting out, so you don't get too desperate, and you don't get stranded at some point where you start contemplating if you should continue or not. Get a side hustle, so you have something else giving you money, because the money will not just start coming immediately you start practicing. Yeah, it doesn't work. Though there are people that are lucky enough for that it work out. Yeah, first trial and everywhere is good, but it really, really doesn't work for everybody in that regard. So you have to get something else doing, something that can put food on your table while you're pushing your practice, getting better over the course of time, up to the time when people will recognize you and call on you. Because yeah, they are actually seeing you, but they need to know if you are someone that will be consistent and willing to continue in that path.
I do agree with you. Consistency is key in everything we do as human. But aside that, you use this footwears to make images. Are there other forms of expression you use this footwear for?
Oh yes, so my work have been evolving over the course of the years. Over the course of my years, my works have been changing. Yeah, because which is an obvious sign of growth. You can't just be in one sport. So yeah, I have works that are both figurative and non-figurative. This is figurative. Why? Because you can actually see image, but I have a bit about non-figurative, conceptual kind of works that that really deal more on social commentaries that are symbolic, that we explain them based on how symbolic they are. Yes, so I have other
Can
ones.
you give us an example of such?
I have an installation. I will show you. I have installation in the other part of the studio, and that's it's part of the series I'm working on. The title of that series is Black Gold. Black Gold, and the motive behind that work and what inspired that work is my environment, where I'm actually coming from the Niger Delta. You know, there's a lot of misrepresentation of what's really happening in my region. When people come out here and you all talk about pipeline vitalization and all that, these are just narrative that the media is pushing. A lot of people that are told they're having this conversation have not been there. Imagine places imagine the places where oil are being tapped from. We can't boast of quality education, no good road, no health care, no health care. Everything is all bad. And on top of that, we have oil spillage because we are predominantly fishermen. We have oil spillage that's also killing our source of livelihood. So now you have the oil, you're tapping out the oil is destroying, and we are not getting any benefit. But when you come out here, people will all start. It's all about, okay, they are vandalizing this, they are destroying this, but you can't see what's really what caused it. There's always a side of cause and effect to everything. Imagine you seeing oil betray.
I'm looking at this shoe and something in me still feel like, but this shoe still looks nice now. Why would anybody just let it go like that?
I feel like for this is for a teen, obviously, but I can remember even me as a child. I've gone out maybe and come back with just one. So someone, you know, and maybe when that child is maybe unlucky, rain comes and it flushes that photo somewhere else entirely. So yeah.
True, true. And then there's someone like you who is praying that things like that happen. So you have enough so you have enough material for your work. Well, yeah, I think these are the conversation we should be having. And I do hope that this level of acceptance from the society gives you the necessary motivation. But most of the time, that's what artists like you need to bring out their best. When they see people appreciate what they do, they want to keep up on their best to ensure people are not disappointed. So I want to say thank you for having us here today. But it's also our culture for you to shout out to a couple of persons, your friends, Society of Nigerian Artists, the sponsor of this program, and also, if possible, one of two things an artist watching can keep for him or herself in this practice of art.
Well, I want to say a very big thanks to Prince Yem Shishilo for sponsoring this. I also want to thank the Society of Nigerian Artists, Ogun State's chapter, and by extension, the entire country. And to my wonderful friends here, I've wonderful friends who have been part of my journey. Yes, because there are certain things that I create and I have to show it to friends. What do you think about it? Do you think does this really really make sense? Yeah, so I have a line of artists that I work with in that regard. So say big thanks. Now, so any young artists or generally to every artist, because I'm still young, so I don't know if I'm really in that position to give. I don't know if I'm in that position to really give advices. Yeah, but I really, really want to call on people to have the sense of originality in their work. Have a voice that will be yours. Because we see a whole lot of times that um artists are working and one other artist, young artist somewhere else, somewhere, or maybe someone that have had access to that particular artist will go out and start doing what this artists do. And that's in itself has really, really let a whole lot of big artists and established artists bring young artists close. Yeah, yes, because like what I'm doing, the stage I am today is a product of 6 7 years of consistent practice. I made mistakes, I learned from them, and imagine just bringing someone and this person just lives here and start doing exactly what you're doing now. To you, as an artist, if you're doing that, you're not really promoting yourself. You're promoting the other person. Why? Because whosoever, when you go out there and you see work like this from a distance, even if it's not mine, even if by virtue of production I'm not the one that created it, when you look at it from distance, if you do not go close to check the name, you will think, oh, this is Comboy, So automatically you're giving credit to me, you're promoting my work. So get something that works for you, and don't do something because people are doing it and you are seeing that these people are getting certain level of recognition. Have a voice, something that is true to you, something that you know that yes, you can do without pressure, because one thing about copying other artists is you have to wait for that person to create first before you create. So when the person is evolving, you just be copying, and the day that person maybe stops, you stop too. So you're not original. So I want to give young artists a good advice. Please do something that is true to you. I'm not saying do something that is new. There's nothing that is new. But if you're modifying something, modify it to the point where someone cannot kind of trace it to another person.
Thank you so much for having us here today. It's been a great time and an eye opener. And we wish you all the best in your practice of art.
Thank you very much.
That's it this week on Word of Art, and I trust that you enjoyed every bit of this conversation today. Don't forget, it is where we bring you the unfiltered conversation around art and how it affects our everyday lives, promoting art in Nigeria. My name is Miriam Usman. This program is brought to you by Prince Yemisi Shilon, legal practitioner, Africa's largest private art collector, brand donor and chairman of council, Yemisi Shilon Museum of Art, in collaboration with Society of Nigerian Artists, Ogun State Chapter. I'll see you next week, God's willing. Bye for now.